Hi, I'm Steve. Um, I wanted to put together this little video to kind of let you know what this group is all about. I'm going to tell you a story in just a minute, but first of all, I want to say if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, at whatever point you are in the journey, I want you to know that you're welcome here. If you are not a follower of Jesus Christ, but you're curious, you don't understand it, you don't understand this Jesus stuff, but you're curious. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. I want to tell you a story that's kind of the genesis of this group. Um, there are all kinds of Christian groups that are out here, but this one, you might even think it's a niche within a niche within a niche or something like that. We specifically focus in on your spiritual growth and development here. And here's why. Years ago, I read a book called Rediscovering Church by a guy by Bill and Lynn Hybels. And it was a celebration of the 20th anniversary of Willow Creek Community Church in Chicago, Illinois. And in the book, they told the story about a class that was taught at Harvard Business School. They were talking about the mission statements of nonprofit organizations and how those organizations serve their constituents. And in this particular class, they were talking about the mission statement of a church for the very first time, Willow Creek. Willow Creek was really prominent back when the book was written. And it talked about how during the class, the professor was asking questions and getting answers, and he was writing stuff on the board like professors do. But finally, he got around to this girl in the class who really hadn't participated very much. And he went and put his hands on the desk and looked her in the eye and said, "What do you think about the mission statement of Willow Creek Community Church?" And she said, "Well, it says that they want to turn irreligious people into fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ." Now, as an aside, I've always loved that mission statement. I've always believed that's what we're supposed to do as a church. Well, the professor said, No. I didn't ask you what the mission statement was. What is your visceral reaction to it? What do you think of it? How do you feel about it? And she hemmed and hawed for a minute, and she said, I don't come from a religious background. But when it says that they want to turn irreligious people into fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ, well, it sounds to me like they are trying to turn atheists into missionaries. And she said, if you ask me, that is one hell of a challenge. Well, the class broke into laughter because of her kind of coarse remark there. But Hybel said her answer crystallized something within him. He said, no wonder it's so hard to do what we're trying to do. We are seeking to take hardened skeptics and see them transformed into disciples of Jesus. And that's really, really hard. And I'll be honest with you, for years, that phrase, turning atheists into missionaries, got stuck in the frontal lobe of my brain. And I began to, I prayed over it, I thought about it, I talked to others about it, and certain questions started popping up into my head. How would you get from point A to point B, from atheist to missionary, from irreligious to fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ? What might be some mile markers along that journey? What might be some exit ramps off of that road? And I studied what other people had said about spiritual growth and development, and how they would get from that beginning point to that ending point. A lot of people didn't even have any concept of what the beginning point and the ending point might be. There are a lot of people who believe, well, I follow Jesus. What's the goal? Well, I suppose is to become like Christ. Well, what does that look like? I don't know. It just looks like Jesus, I guess. Well, a lot of people have different ideas. And what I did is I put together something that I call now the 5 Ds, your roadmap to the fulfilling Christian life. And here they are. We won't get into depth in them right now, but here they are. Dedicate your life to Jesus Christ. Develop basic spiritual habits. Depend on God, on one another, and on God's purposes. Deliver selfless service. Duplicate your faith. And we'll talk about that in depth in this group and how you can do that personally. But first of all, you got to dedicate your life to Jesus Christ. There has to be a point in time where you say, I believe this. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I believe that what the Bible says about him is absolutely true. And you give your life to him. All right? What's the next thing? Develop basic spiritual habits. If you sign on the dotted line to build a house, there has to come a time when you actually get to lay out the foundation and pour the concrete. And there has to be basic spiritual habits that are put into place in your life to replace the old habits of your old life. All right? Thirdly, we learn how to depend on one another. First of all, we depend on God. We learn to depend on one another. And we depend on God's purposes. All right? That's like building the scaffolding for the house. The basic framework. Number 4, you deliver selfless service. That's the guts of the house. You're putting in the electricity and the plumbing and everything else that is involved on the inside of the house, making it go, making it work. You learn how to deliver selfless service. The single greatest leap that anyone ever makes in their Christian growth is the leap from self-centeredness to Christ-centeredness. All right? And number 5, duplicate your faith. That if you're building a house, that's like finishing up all the outside. You're paving the sidewalks and the driveway and the patio. You're doing all of the landscaping. You're just getting everything good to go, making it ready. And eventually, what you're going to do is you're going to have all your friends over for a housewarming party, so that they can see your new house and so that they can rejoice with you over the new house that you have now. All right, that's what we're called to do. Turn atheists into missionaries. And personally, we're to move in our lives from being atheists and become missionaries, a person who embraces the mission of Christ as our own. We aren't meant to just float around. If you become a Christian and you feel like you're just floating and you really don't have any idea what you're supposed to do or what you're supposed to become, this group is for you. And you are welcome here. You're welcome here. All right. That's a quick introduction. I want to thank you for paying attention. And I look forward to visiting with you again very soon in the next video.